All right, hello everyone. So today's video is not what I initially wanted to do. I actually wanted to bring you guys a review today, but I did not get the chance to finish reading the book last night like I had wanted to. Um, my daughter got home from her dad's and it was hangout time. And I embrace those times when she wants to actually hang out and spend time with me. So we ended up doing that. Were we up too late? Yes, we were. But it's whatever. So I did not get to finish reading the book. But so I decided to go ahead and just bring you guys my wrap up, and I will aim for probably Saturday for the review to go up, since that's my new other posting day. It seems to be working out well. I don't intend for every single Saturday to be a vlog. So sometimes it might be a vlog and sometimes it won't. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and talk about my wrap up for November. Now, I didn't get a whole lot read in November, and it's just because towards the end of the year, it gets really, my reading really does slow down. And it's like there's holidays, birthdays, because like there's the Thanksgiving, my sister's birthday, and then it goes into my birthday, and then it goes into Christmas. And then there's my parents' anniversary and my grandparents' anniversary. So it's like there's a lot of stuff going on. We don't always like celebrate them, but you know, we at least wish everybody well wishes and stuff. But minus like the big holidays. So it's just been a kind of a stressful month, so I haven't really been reading a lot, and then I've still been playing like my video game and stuff, and yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the DNF because I did have a DNF, and that would be Dragon's Pawn by Carol L. Dennis. I DNF'd this at about 24 pages. Yeah, it was about chapter 4-ish, maybe a little bit after that. So it was still like relatively early, like 18% or something. And it was due to misogyny. And it's stupid misogyny. And it's misogyny coming from a woman, and that makes me more angry. Like, I expect misogyny coming from male authors. This was printed in 87, if I remember correctly. Yes, 87. So like, you know, these earlier fantasy books, I expect misogyny and sexism and stuff, but it really ticks me off when it's coming from a woman, because I'm like, you should know better. And so it was just like stupid misogyny, though. It was like, women have to make beds. That's a woman's job. What? So things like that. There's more detail on it in my first reading vlog, because that was the one where I ended up DNFing this. So if you want to hear more about it, you can over there. But yeah, it was mainly just stupid misogyny, and then the fact that the dude kept like lusting after animals. It was weird, and so that ended up making me go ahead and remove Dragon's Night from my bookshelves, because this is book 2 in the series. So I figured if I'm DNFing book 1, there's obviously no way that I'm going to be reading book 2. So went ahead and got rid of that one. So now for the books that I did finish, the first up would be, well, it's not the first one, but it's the first one in the pile. That would be The Sea of Trolls by Nancy Farmer. This is book 1 in the Sea of Trolls trilogy. Now, I gave this 3 stars. I did enjoy it. I do feel that it was unnecessarily long, because this is almost 500 pages, and it's like a middle grade book, and it just kind of dragged after a while. The story definitely could have been trimmed down to about 300 pages to keep like a child's attention span. Because as always, when I read middle grade books, I think about it from a child's perspective, and 500 pages just let's and it for it to not really have anything exciting going on for those like 500 pages. Like, a good chunk of this is just them traveling on a boat, and you're just like, okay, can we move on with the story? Like, let's go, let's move it along. The pacing would get really quick, and then it would honestly, and then it would just like fall, and then it would get quick again, and then it would fall. And then, like I said, like the traveling bit just went on for too long. Just, we could have really trimmed that down a little bit. I did like the inclusion of both like Norse mythology as well as the like Christian point of view, because it does take place during the time when Christians and the Norse were, meeting and whatnot. Our main character, he's raised with like the Christian beliefs, but he also is trained by a mage who believes in like the Norse, the pagan ways and such. So to see him navigate both was actually pretty interesting, and I do think the author handled it really well, especially considering it never came off as if she was like trying to prove a point or trying to push religion down your throat. It was just a part of the world. And it never like overtook the story. It was just there in the background as like a piece of the story to help build the world. The characters were fun. I will say the bickering between the two kids does get a little like stale after a while, because you're just kind of like, okay, I get it. Like, she hates him. And I actually started to actually feel pretty bad for the boy, because he would just like look at her and she'd be like, I'm gonna punch you in the face. And I'm like, can you take a chill pill, homegirl? So yeah, it does take a while for like, it's about 50% into the story when the actual plot finally comes into play. So it did take a minute to get there. So that was a little frustrating. I am going to continue the series. I do have books 2 and 3, so I am going to continue it. Hopefully the pacings will be better in those ones, but they are kind of like just as long, so I am a little concerned about that. So yeah, that's how we ended that one. And then at the beginning of the month, I read The Tower at Stony Wood. Definitely enjoyed this one. It does have one of my favorite like little ending, not so much a speech, but like the way that the girl reacts to her man, who has her man had like gone through like the entire book on a journey, and so he saw some things, did some things, and the way she like responds to him at the end, oh, so sweet. I loved it. And this also has like, there's a Selkie storyline in this one. So if you guys are into Selkies and you're looking for a book that has Selkies, like, this does have a Selkie storyline in it. But it is very much a story that does involve like journeying from one place to another place, but they all end up connecting, and the way she connects it is just really beautiful. And then it also tackles the subject of suicide. So if that is like a trigger for you guys, I want to put that out there. But she handles it in a really beautiful way. Not to a point to where I think it would cause somebody any kind of like traumatic experience reading it. I do think she handled it really, really well, and she took a lot of care with it. So I do want to put that out there. But overall, it's another like, I did give it 4 stars because there is still one element of the story that I personally am a little confused on, and maybe after like another read, because I do plan on rereading my Patricias, maybe on a reread I won't be so confused, but right now there is just one element of the story that I was just a little confused on. But overall, I still very much enjoyed it, and I will always to this day like recommend Patricia. And then I just recently finished, towards the end of the month, I finished Alphabet of Thorn, also by my girl Patricia. Again, another absolutely wonderful. I gave this one 5 stars. One of the things that I really loved about this is the story involves a girl who is translating a book, and the way Patricia utilized keeping the story in the present, but also telling us the story that's being translated. I think she did it so well, and it's not confusing, because some chapters were the story being told, like the story that Nepenthe is translating, some of those chapters was that story, and yet the way she managed to make it flow and connect within the story just always felt like she perfectly timed it, and it never pulled me out of the story, and it never confused me. So I do think she did that really well. And then plus it was just nice to be able to see what it was our character was translating, and then the way it ties into the overall story was fantastic. And I I had made some guesses and ended up being wrong and was like, darn, I missed that. But the characters are all great. It's got like the soft romantic storyline to it, so if you like, all of her books have a little romantic edge to them, but overall, like when you get to the very end, the decision that's made I actually really, really loved it. It's very like melancholy but sweet at the same time. And it's one of those, how can I say this without spoiling it? I don't think I can. But it's one of those decisions where I think as a woman, you'll understand the decision more. Just because we're constantly left having to make ultimatums, essentially. So, yeah, but I do think the direction that she took it in was the best direction she could have taken it. So, yeah, definitely recommend another Patricia. I'm always going to recommend her books. And then one last one that I did finish was Barbarian's Treat by Ruby Dixon. I buddy read this with my best friend, and this was the Halloween special that she did in October that she, she like released it on her website as daily chapters and then released it as a book afterwards at the start of November. And it was just a fun little holiday treat book. Nothing like wild and crazy and stuff like that. Just overall, just absolutely adorable, cute, and fun. It focuses back on like the main Ice Planet Barbarian crew, with minus a few because they're on a different beach, But it was fun. It was cute. We definitely enjoyed it. Now, as for unfinished books, the first one I'm going to start with is Remembering Remeb, or Romancing Remeb by Ruby Dixon. Me and my best friend started this at the beginning of the month, and we came to a screeching halt when we got to the first intimate scene, and both of us were immediately turned off with the choices that Ruby picked. And we are still undecided if we are going to continue, because if what happens in that intimate scene is an indication for what's going to happen in other intimate scenes, we're not sure we want to read that, because we were both immediately just like, nope, no, absolutely not. So that one is currently at a standstill. I don't know if we're going to be finishing that one or not. So, yeah. Crazy. I forgot to mention another DNF earlier, and it's just because I don't have the book with me anymore, but I did DNF Snow Crash. I won't say it's a permanent DNF, but right now it's a DNF by Neil Stephenson, Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson. I read those 8 pages and I absolutely hated it. And I know that's not enough to really be like, wow, I hate this story. It could have just been a really bad opening paragraph, or opening chapter, I mean. But I didn't have it in me to want to go back to it. So I went ahead and just did a DNF for now and returned it to the library. Maybe next year or a year later, or never. Who knows if I'll ever go back to it. I don't know. But those first 8 pages, I was like, no, thank you, sir. So anyways, back to the pile of books that I'm currently reading, which isn't a lot. So there's the Romancing Remeb that we talked about, but I am in the middle of Seven Forges. I haven't moved the bookmark because I actually have a digital copy from the library, because this was just getting a little bit, I'm really insanely picky about the spines of my mass markets. And this one was proving to be just a little difficult to open, so I got the ebook from the library. But I'm like up to chapter 10 at this point. Yeah, I'm at chapter 10, and I am absolutely loving this. I really am. Like, Drask is such a great character. He's such a little instigator. Like, homeboy's like, you should fight them to the death. Like, he literally tells this to a 16-year-old kid. He was like, you should fight them to the death. And I was like, Drask! He's 16! And then he's like, my gods demand that you do this. And I'm just like, bro, you are such an instigator. But I love his character, honestly. And then there's Maros, who, homeboy is having some crisis going on. I mean, other girls would, when reading this, they'd probably be annoyed with Maros because he does focus a lot on like how a woman looks and everything, but I actually find him pretty hilarious because he is just enthralled with this super muscly woman, and he's just like, oh my god, she's so muscly, like, why am I attracted to this? Oh my god, look at them arms. Why am I attracted to this? And I find it hilarious. I think other girls reading this would probably be like, oh, sexism or whatever. I personally just find it really funny, and like I've told my friend, and she's like, no, dude is funny for that. Granted, there's more to his story than that, but it's like this side portion of his story that's just hilarious. But like there's like nothing really big has happened yet. It's still a lot of setup, but again, I'm still like in the beginning of the story, so it's still got a little bit of time. I'm enjoying the setup though, and I do like the world. There's these like 7 mountains that are called the 7 Forges, and there's these gods that saved this group of people, and now those people are coming out and like seeing the rest of the world. They're making deals with like the emperor of another kingdom, so there are some like political things going on, but nothing really big has happened yet. I'm pretty sure like as I get closer to the middle of the book towards the end, that will finally happen, but right now it's just been a lot of setup, a lot of like getting used to the characters, learning the world, the history and such, and how these gods act. Andover has a very sad, like, when you meet him, you're like, oh, you poor baby boy. You poor baby boy. Because that was a very traumatic meeting with that kid. But yeah, so far I'm definitely really, really enjoying it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It just feels like good classic fun fantasy, and I'm eating it up. The other book that I started was Medea by Elish Quinn. This one I actually started on audiobook the day before Thanksgiving because I was cleaning my house and I needed something to listen to. And this came in 6 weeks early from Libby. Thanks a lot, Libby. You said 6 weeks, not 3 days. I am enjoying this. I'm about 50% into it. Bookmark doesn't look like it, but it's because I haven't updated the place of the bookmark. But I am about 50-ish% into it. I just got to the part where she finally meets Jason from the Argonauts. I love the writing style. I really do. It's very reminiscent of Madeline Miller's work and how she tells the stories. And I love the way Madeline tells the stories. So I do really, really love that. I feel like she is breathing more life into Medea's character and giving her more of a personification and like really like focusing on her and not so much focusing on everyone around her. Which is good because it's supposed to be a story from Medea's point of view. So I do think she is doing a lot of justice to that, and that's what like kind of gives me that reminiscent feeling of Miller's work, specifically like Circe. So I am really loving it. I'm liking what she's doing. I just haven't finished it because, you know, I didn't finish it that day I thought I was going to. And then one other book that I started was Christmas and Other Horror Stories. It's like a horror story anthology. And I'll put the picture up because I actually have the audiobook for this one. And I've done 3 stories in it so far, and they've all just been like, meh, right now. The first one was just it was more like intriguing than it was like actually like a good story. Like, you don't keep your house clean, so now these evil spirits are gonna kill you. Okay. The second story was just way too short to really like become invested in it and really feel the effects of like the scariness of it. And the third one, it was like a highwayman kind of story, but it felt really flat. And it was, out of the 3 that I've read so far, it was my least favorite one. So, and not starting out the greatest with this particular anthology. I'm gonna keep going with it through through December. Maybe like listen to a story a day kind of thing, because I think there's like 20 of them in there. So we'll see. But this is why anthologies and short story collections can always be a very hit or miss investment, which is why I tend to not really purchase them unless I'm familiar with the authors. And since I'm not like super in the know about like horror, it's safer for me to get them at the library. So that's what I did. So yeah, so that is everything that I've read or I've started reading. A lot of these will be finished in December. And as for December reads, because I'm going to go ahead and just cover that in this video, I don't have anything else planned except for 2 other books. So I have Lid Luda started. This was the one I wanted to bring a review to you guys, but as you can see, I did not get it finished in time, and that's okay. It does come out today. This is book 2 in the duology. The first book is called Gogmagog. I have a review for that on my channel. I'll link it down below. Super good book, especially if you like weird fantasy that does just weird random things, but has a good engaging story and really fun characters. And this one, there's a side character, Jebediah, who is hilarious. I love this kid. He's 15 and I'm like, boy, you are so funny. You have no right being this funny. But yeah, I do like this. It is taking just a little bit of time to like really build up to what it's going to, but that's okay. But it does pick up right after book 1's ending. So it's not like there's like a time gap or anything between the two. It's literally just the events happened and now we're continuing forward like the next day kind of thing. So that is nice. So if you were to read these back to back, it would just feel like one giant story. So, but I am enjoying it at the moment. And then I do plan on reading Cosmic Widow by Jonathan Nevers. This is the 3rd book in the Agent Renault adventure series. My brain did not want to put adventure in there. But I love this series. It's a fun little space detective series where you follow Agent Renault. Each book can be read on its own because they're standalone little mystery adventures. So each book is a full wrapped up story. I do highly recommend it. They're a lot of fun, especially if you just like want like a quick, fun little space detective romp kind of thing. And Agent Renault is honestly, she's hilarious. I really like her character. So yeah, I do plan on prioritizing that one. Outside of that, if I can get to this bad boy right here, The Fury of the Gods, I will, because I would really like to. And then up here, you can't really see it because Goliath is blocking the way, but Bringer of Dust by J.M. Miro. I would like to also get to that one. But again, that's another thick boy. But the thing is with those 2, because they are such highly anticipated books for me, if I feel like I'm going to end up being rushed while reading them, I will not read them in December because I do not want to, because this year alone, I have only really been interested in like 3 or 4 books. To be 100% honest, and those are 2 of them. And so I do not want to rush and just read them as fast as I can and like spoil my fun for them. So I might get to them, I might not. It all depends on my mood and how I feel, and if I feel like I'm gonna end up just rushing through them and not enjoying them like I want to. So yeah, that's the plans for December. Outside of that, it's just going to be like if I pick up something from the summer TBR or the books that I have from the library, because I still have a few of those, or if I just want to continue unwrapping books from the unwrap shelf. Who knows? I don't. That's the joy of being a mood reader. So yeah, that is the wrap up for November and a little bit of insight going into December. So you know, if you guys have read any of these or if any of these sound interesting to you, I would love to hear your thoughts down below. So like, comment, subscribe, all of those good things, because they do help the channel grow. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.